Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 320 for the 9th of January. So let's start off with weird statements. So the Ukrainian Foreign Minister, Dmytro Kuleba, he made a tweet, basically a statement, which is kind of weird. It's like he praise you but slap you at the same time. He said that Ukraine is grateful to partners for their military aid, but we should remain honest with one another. No one has done enough as long as Russian boots remains on Ukrainian ground. So it's like, no, I'm so grateful to you, but you are shit, something like that. So not a good way to do foreign policy, if you ask me. And Zelensky, in a statement today, he said something very unusual and weird. Seems like he has considered Soledar. So he said that thanks to the resilience of our soldiers there in Soledar, we won extra time and extra strength for Ukraine, which is like a paving a way for a withdrawal. And then he started to say how useless Soledar is. What did Russia want to win there? Everything is completely destroyed. Life is almost gone. Thousands of people are lost. All the land under Soledar in the corpse of the invaders and the scar of the blows. That's what madness looks like. So very very add in your own words. Okay, moving on to the southern front. This icon here, this is actually something to do for the DPA officers and generals. The import function is broken, so basically the map will not show yesterday's report because I have to override the last day's mapping in order to do the mapping. These are something else, not important for those that have no access to the map. If you want access to the map, you have to join Patreon, Coffee, or Locals. So now we have Locals now. defensepoliticsasia.locals.com. It looks like this. Community page. Yeah, it looks like this. I just started doing this. I actually created the Locals for a long time, and I didn't realize that there are people actually subscribing and even supporting there with their hard-earned money. So I only just realized it like a few days ago. So I'm going to start populating there with information. So stay tuned. For those that like Locals, you can actually head over there, defensepoliticsasia.locals.com. The links will be in the description. And Zaporizhia, we have nothing. Over at the Donetsk front. At the Donetsk front, there is fighting reported at Shevchenko and Perlivka, with the Ukrainians launching an attack towards Perlivka and Shevchenko. And the Russian Defense Ministry reports this as a sabotage and reconnaissance groups. But I'm starting to feel that maybe this is just another excuse to downplay the attacks. Basically, I think it's just an offensive. At Soledar, there is a concentration of forces being reported, according to Rodovka or Ryadovka. So they say that there's a gathering of a large force at Soledar, and at the same time, the Russians are also gathering and concentrating their forces around the region as well. So both sides are actually preparing for an offensive, and the forces are waiting to see who move first. So they are kind of like saying that the land is now frozen and it can start at any time. The Ukrainians have put their troops on full alert. So now it's just a matter of waiting to see who will start the first strike. Further up north from Soledar region, over the Marinka region on the western side of Donetsk city, there is fighting reported at Bojeda, at Marinka, as well as further up north at Krasna Horivka. So the information for Krasna Horivka come from Wogonzo. Marinka and Bojeda come from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. No details of the fighting here though. Over at the northwest part of Donetsk city in the Pisky region, this is Pisky. Povomaisky saw fighting, according to Wogonzo as well as at Vodian. Vodian is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The deep state UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, reported that there is an attack on Nevelsky, and the Russians did not succeed in their attack. So that's all from the Pisky region. Moving on to the New York front. At the New York front, at the very north of the New York front, we have fighting reported at Mayos, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. But that's all we know of this region here. There is 2 aircraft getting shot down over in Donetsk region. There's a Sukhoi 25 shot down over Rivne, and there is actually a MiG-29 of the Ukrainian side getting shot down over Krovdivka. This continues the trend of Ukrainian aircraft getting shot down quite deep into the rear, and this actually might have something to do with this. So, according to the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense, they reported that the Sukhoi 57, they can now confirm that it's actually being deployed in the operation against Ukraine. So, they say that at least since June, the Russian Air Force has been using the Sukhoi 57, the Russians' 5th gen aircraft. They in NATO, they call it Felon. So they actually in the 25th of December satellite image identified the Sukhoi 57 at the air base here at Aktubinsk air base. Aktubinsk here, and then this is the air base. And interestingly is that the Google map actually also shows it. You can see that these are actually the Sukhoi 57s. There's 2 of them here, and so looks like the satellite image is not that interesting because we even can see it on Google Maps. So, but ultimately, this is interesting that the UK started to say this, and I wonder if the trend of all these aircraft getting shot down deep in Ukrainian territory might have something to do with the Sukhoi 57s. And however, the UK Defense Ministry did make it a bit salty. They said that the Russians did not dare to send the Sukhoi 57 into Ukraine. They are only firing their missiles from Russian territory, saying that the Russians cannot afford to lose the aircraft, for PR reasons. And it's kind of weird because if you can fire from far away and hit your target, why the hell you need to go nearer? So yeah, so that's that. Moving on to the there's one more. There's a helicopter also getting shot down over Virolubivka. So a Mi-8 transport helicopter, which can also doubles as an rocket attack helicopter, has been shot down over Virolubivka. This according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And moving on to the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, we do not have fighting around the Khydomivka region or Ozeryanivka region. However, we do have reports of fighting at Klishevka, according to the pro-Russia source Ryba. We continue to see reports of fighting at Opaine, according to Ryba. However, in another source, let me show you. In Southwind reported that Opaine has been captured. The Wagner detachment have established control over Opaine. So we have a second source corroborating what was reported by Suryak maps that this region here has already been captured, and the fighting is now in the southern part of Bakhmut. So Ryba have not really catch up to this just yet, but since we have the first corroboration from Southwind, that sounds like it's likely to be correct. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry did also report that fighting continues at Bakhmut. So is Ryba. Ryba reported the fighting is at Bakhmut as well. Details is unknown. We don't have any details about the fighting at Bakhmut, as all the eyes are now on the Soledar region, or the northern part of Bakhmut. After yesterday, we have reported that Pihorodne has been captured by the Russian forces. Today, Deep State UA actually confirms the information that Pihorodne has fallen to the Russian side. Although the Ukrainian Defense Ministry continues to report fighting at Pihorodne, they have not really considered that this is actually happened. There is fight, but further up north, there's big developments. yesterday we did have some rumors, that the Russians might have entered Krasna Hora, and there's some rumors that the Ukrainians might have withdrawn. First, we did have fighting reported at Krasna Hora and Paraskoviivka, according to Ryba. And this is actually important because Paraskoviivka have never saw fighting before, so this is the first time the Russians have arrived at this town here. But the fact that they actually reached there seems like a collapse of Ukrainian lines, because usually you do not progress this fast, maybe 2-3 kilometers in a single day. So that means that the entire information that the Ukrainians withdraw might have some truth in it. And Southwind reported that I would just call it rumor that Krasnaya Gora, which is Krasna Hora and Paraskoviivka, have already collapsed. The Ragnar forces have established control over the villages. So, but tentatively, because Southwind is not part of the list of the most trusted sources, this information I think is being shared by, if I'm not wrong, Ryba. So we will wait for confirmation from other sources that I trust to whether we can confirm the capture by the Russian forces of these two important and strategic towns north of Bakhmut city. And however, if this is true, then we will see the next attack reaching Berkivka. And if it reaches Berkivka, then or Yahidne, then we shall actually see that my hypothesis that the Russians are actually going around Bakhmut rather than going into the Bakhmut is coming true. That the Russian forces indeed is trying the pincer to avoid fighting within the Bakhmut city itself, but actually trying to force a withdrawal of the Ukrainian forces. We shall continue to watch how these things develop. And according to Intel Slava, I'm not sure where Intel Slava aggregated this information from. They say that there is the footage of. So basically, I saw the footage. Basically, there's some destroyed equipments. Heavy equipment of the Ukrainian forces, and in the village of Blahodatne. And if this is signs of fighting, I'm not sure if this is, maybe this just artillery strike, then there is fighting reaching Blahodatne already. And most likely, given the entire tide of how the war is going, it is conceivable that fighting is now reaching Blahodatne. So with this means that the entire road between Bakhmut to Siversk or to Soledar has entirely broken. There is no more direct communications in terms of traffic or resupply or transfer of troops. We'll be able to do via this highway. The only way now is going to go one big round. So and particularly probably go through Sloviansk through the highway system, going past Liman, or they can go through the small roads through Raya Oleksandrivka. So that's happened. Further up north, according to Intel Slava, where they aggregated another piece of information from the editor-in-chief of this publication called Censor, the Yuri Butusov, said that the resupply the supply route, the highway to Soledar, has been under the Russian fire control. So I suppose that the road is probably referring to this highway that is going south to Blahodatne, and which means that the Russians are actually pretty close for them to have fire control over this road here, because I don't think it's going to be this road, because this is actually a train road. So I believe it's going to be this road. There's a small road to this part, but I think that the way how they explain this, they say that the main supply route, I think they're talking about the highway. And the highway from the front line that we have mapped is around 2 kilometers. So there might be a chance that the Russians might have closed this gap further to be able to have a very direct fire control over the road. So now coming to Soledar itself, at Soledar, we have fighting reported at Soledar, of course, this according to Ryba, and we do have some confirmation of the location of fighting. The Ukrainian side actually released a footage of the urban fighting in Soledar, and and actually is mapped to around this region here. So the fighting here is actually mapped correctly. That means the information coming from Ryba, where they say where the Russian forces have arrived at this intersection of Chakalov and Kapinsky Street, is accurate. This information is actually corroborated by the footage coming from the Ukrainian side. And there is also reports of fighting in the northern outskirts of Soledar, according to the pro-Russian source Ryba, where I believe that it is related to the high ground that the Russians have captured, and they are probably trying to push forward further, and might have some relations to this information that fire control has been established on the highway to Soledar. So there is rumors of Ukrainian withdrawal already, and this time now coming from Track a Nazi Merc Twitter account, where they actually screenshot I think it's a likely Instagram account sharing I think, is it called Moments? So anyway, I transcribed what they wrote. Receiving reports from Central Ukrainian Army brigades that Soledar is due to fall. Please advise all contacts to depart immediately and ensure to avoid the crossroad between Krasna Hora and Bakhmut. Firstly, this part, to avoid the crossroad between Krasna Hora and Bakhmut, which means that they are telling people not to go through this small road here along the railway towards Bakhmut, which actually confirms the information that the Russians have either captured or are around the area of Krasna Hora. That's why they are advised not to go south. So the only road left is actually to go north. And so he continues, all my buddies still here in and around the area get to safety if possible, which also says that anywhere around Soledar is now not safe to be around. So according to the Twitter account, it said that this is actually being publicized, or published by Fraser Good, a mercenary from Kettering, UK, from United Kingdom, who is currently in Bakhmut, at the Bakhmut front. So he posted the information about Soledar, which means that the chances of Soledar falling within a few days is now looking to be very high, because if there is this kind of information going around, and if this is true, then the Ukrainian withdrawal should be very, very soon. This is going to be problematic for the Ukrainian forces. So I'm not sure what will be the next move at the moment. Should they capture this point, I think capturing Bakhmut still remains to be the #1 priority. I still haven't seen how this can affect Sivas just yet. But the capturing of here would just complicate the logistics for the Ukrainian side. Over at the Sivas front, we have fighting reported at Bilohorivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Spurny situation did not develop after the shelling. We did not see any fighting there. Bilohorivka also at the Luhansk region also sees fighting, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Russians continue to bombard Kryhorivka and Serebryanka, according to their yesterday's report. There is fighting reported at Kuzmine, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, which is actually this small little village here, Kuzmine, which is on the eastern side of Dibrova, the more popular more famous brother here. So that means the Ukrainians are actually pretty close, because they say that they repulsed attack by the Russians at this location of Kuzmine. But as far as my understanding goes, I don't think the Ukrainians have captured this village just yet. So they are probably very close to the village, which is why I changed the mapping slightly to reflect this information. The concentration of forces is also reported at Terni. So there is a 15 vehicles concentrating at Terni, and then according to Ryba, they are allegedly preparing for an offensive. Otherwise, the initiative here is still largely Russian, with the Russians' attack at Cheverno-Popivka, near Nevsky, near Plashchanka, as well as near Makievka. And there is also shelling report at Nevsky, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And that's all from the Crimea front. moving further up north, there is fight at the Svetove front. There is no active fighting. The only reports coming out from this region is from the Russian Defense Ministry reporting of strikes at Berestove, Stemekiivka, as well as at Lozova. The attacks is likely artillery and air force. At least for Stemekiivka and Lozova is particularly listed as aviation and artillery attacks. Further up north to the Kupiansk front, we have the same at Kaislivka as well as at Sinkivka. Both locations get struck by the Russian bombardment. Otherwise, there is some sort of fighting. Sorry, this should be the blue color. At Vorishna, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, they say that they eliminated a DRG group near Vorishna. But Vorishna is actually across the river here on the western side of the Oskil River. So this is kind of a weird information. So we will not read too much into this just yet, because there might be a case where this is actually, we can be interpret this as the Russians have already arrived at the Oskil River. So, but tentatively, we do not have indication that that's the case, other than this very weird statement from the Russian Defense Ministry. So let's not read too much into this just yet. According to Ryba, the Ukrainian Air Force seems to still operate very strongly. So they say that over the past day, there are 22 sorties of the Sukhoi 25, MiG-29, and Mi-8 and Mi-24 being noted. And they are also conducting a very low altitude flights, and they are doing training. But they are doing training, practicing avoidance of detection by air defense system in the area of the 65th Arsenal in Balaklia. So that location is actually here. This location here is where they kept all this Soviet era ammunition, and they are doing practicing over there. So the ongoing training of assault aviation and transfer of forces means that the Kharkiv region might see an offensive on Russian positions soon. This is according to Ryba. And this is also indication that the Ukrainian Air Force is not eliminated yet. They are still going strong. So we shall expect continued Ukrainian Air Force activity over the front for at least the next week or two. So that's all, I guess. That's all for the summary for the day of 320 for the 9th of January. If you find these reports useful or interesting, do share this with your friends, contacts, family, and share it to your social media. Why share? Share is very important because sharing actually helps to grow the channel much more than pressing the like button. Although if you haven't pressed the like button, now is a good time to press it. And do subscribe if you have not subscribed. Like I said, sharing actually helps a lot because it helps the channel to reach totally new markets, new people, and that could actually have a triggering effect, a cascading effect to get a totally new wave of signups and subscribes to the channel. And with your help, the channel can actually survive, because the channel is struggling to survive. So anyway, thank you for watching, and hope you have a good day. And just want to highlight that the people here are on the right side of the DPA army are all the people that contributed their hard-earned money to DPA's operation. So I'm very grateful to these people. Currently, there is actually 3 different platforms that you can contribute from: Patreon, Coffee, and Locals. So they are formed into the 3 divisions, and the biggest division currently is the Patreon division. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.